Hey Flosstube friends, hey there, it's Lana of Silly Notion Stitcher Flosstube. So happy nearing February 1st. Today is actually Tuesday, January 30th, 2024. And I'm trying to squeeze in a Flosstube on my lunch break. So I have a conference call at 1 p.m. So there will be no dilly-dallying today. So we will jump right in. Of course, my bags are all still zippered, but I thought I would talk about some retreat talk today, show you some things I've been working on. I'm already about the hearts, have a little towel hanging. This is of course a modern one, but this sort of folk art, this I purchased in Alsace, I think that's how they pronounce it in France, when I was in Germany and France in 2014, almost gonna be 10 years ago now, for a Rhine River cruise. And this region is actually where some of my ancestors are from, and ironically I lived in Alsace Manor outside of Reading, so it's so interesting. But of course that name comes from the German settlers of this area. So you see a lot of hearts built into decoration when you walk through some of those old towns. Like they have the wooden shutters with hearts cut out. So very apropos for heading into Heart Month. How many of you have seen these? Know somebody who has earned one of these? Both my parents went through bypass surgery. They each got one of these hearts. This is your coughing heart that you press against here after you've had to have open heart surgery. So happy Heart Month coming up in February. So I am not going to be stitching any Valentines this year because I did spend a lot of time building that in last year, and I do have a prior FFO that I will dig out. So I was excited to purchase this kit. I think this is like one of the only kits I've ever purchased. The floss is in here as well. So this is by Heart and Hand, and it's got the called for, it is a linen, of course, I'm sure. 32 count Heartland linen by Picture This Plus, and I do love Heartland by Picture This Plus. Lovely, lovely. And then I always forget if it's Cottage Garden Threads. Lovely red blend there, leather bound it's called. So I was planning on starting that when I bought this like last summer, but I don't think I'll start it. We'll see. Things could change. That could be my Valentine's Day start perhaps. So I purchased this at the Cape May, New Jersey shop, Stitch by Stitch. Lovely, lovely shop to go to because of course it's right in Cape May. It's right at the beach. Okay, and I will show you two prior FFOs. This is a prior FFO of a delightful stitcher who made this for me in the Smalls Exchange at StitchCon. Weekend B 2023. Her first time ever beading anything, and she gave it to me. It is just lovely. And then on the back, how smart, she did this lovely heart treatment so I could have either side displayed. So right now I have this side displayed. And this note, I thought this was so clever. This small pillow can be used as decor or as a pin keep. The center has steel wool inside to keep your needles and pins sharp. So very, very nice. And my prior FFO is what I worked on last year. This was the free chart by Cherry Hill Stitchery. That was a sudden surprise, and I loved it and needed to stitch it stat. And so it did take up some of my time that I was trying to use for like Glitter Village, Snow Village, and so those are not quite finished, but I finished it with this cute fabric on the back. Lady Dot Creates. This is in brick, those little pom-poms. I changed up the colors. I added the pinks. I don't think the original design showed it that way. The floss color I used is Cupid, which I think is Weeks Dye Works. And this was a charm that I made in a Michelle ink silver class. Little teacup that I think has hearts on it. And then like another little heart charm. So I love this one, and I think this is like a petite point. It's either, I think it's a 20 count Aida. I was gonna say 22 count, but I think it's 20. Love it. So that's fun to have out. Okay. And what else have I been working on? So I talked about a few weeks ago that I wanted to keep working on my Glitter Village. Well, what I also said was that I need to be finishing, that's not the one. Well, I'll show you this one. Oh, is it this one? Yes, it is. I need to be finishing this one, and what I did was I wrote down the house number on sections of the Aida so that I could keep the pattern straight, because I sort of was starting additional ones, which I did this during one of the 12 by 12. So yeah, with the 12 by 12, like I really don't know what direction that's facing with this house, so I'll have to figure that out. This one was supposed to be what I focused on to finish before I put this away for the season. Instead, I started a new one. I think it's this. I think this is the one I started. And I didn't get very far because then I bounced over to something else. So I think I will keep this out, try to get this finished by like February 14th. I think I'm setting that as my goal. That it's interesting. I'm sure if you participate in Lent, you have seen that Fat Tuesday is February 13th and Valentine's Day is Ash Wednesday. So there's a lot of starts you could do. You could do some starts for Fat Tuesday, you could do some starts for Valentine's Day, Lent, all those good things. So in the Pennsylvania Dutch traditions, Fat Tuesday is really known as, I never grew up with it being called Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday. We knew it as Fastnacht Day. So that's what we celebrate, and a Fastnacht in Pennsylvania Dutch tradition is a donut, but it's not always a round donut. They made dough and would just cut into that dough willy-nilly, and you fried all the pieces. So my grandmother's Fastnachts were often a triangular shape, and I think that was representing the Trinity. But it was just also meant to use up everything that you had. So they were not decorated donuts. They were didn't have icing on them, things like that, not like a regular donut. So I would eat them with, it's just a fried donut, and I would eat them with powdered sugar. And it is a sweeter dough. But my family would always have to have turkey syrup, it's called. And I'm like, turkey syrup? What the heck is that? So I tried it. It's just not my thing, but people love it. It's sort of a molasses crossed with pancake syrup is how I would describe it. So, and it's that color. Anyway, I did work a tiny bit on my snow village. And I need to back up, and here I am, like I'm in this rush. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope that you didn't tune out already. I had the greatest surge of new subscribers, so that was really, really a thrill and a great way to kick off my new year. So thank you. And welcome back to all of you who are returning. I appreciate being able to share my stitchy side of the world with you. So when I talk about Pennsylvania Dutch things, it's something that is a side interest of mine right now. I've been taking language classes locally with my mom, and she grew up with hearing her parents speak it, hearing, different aunts and uncles speak it. She didn't learn the language itself, but it's been fun as we go through the classes. She'll hear things and be able to understand what they are. So actually this Friday, I'm trying to get her to go to a Grundsau Lodge, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is a groundhog lodge, which is in the Pennsylvania Dutch tradition. It is Groundhog Day, and these lodges, there are a few that still remain. They were traditionally like a men's gathering group, and it was a rule that you only spoke in Pennsylvania Dutch. And they would sing and they talk. Some people do little presentations, for lack of a better word, like stories. So I really would like to go, because now they're opening them up to women because they want to keep them going, and they need to be able to bring in new people. So from what I saw, there's a clip online of these men and Pennsylvania Dutch is not strictly Amish and Mennonite. It is a Pennsylvania German culture, but there's a group of men that they'll put on their black suits and black sort of top hats. They're not quite as top hat like when you see Punxsutawney Phil, but they have a stuffed groundhog and they walk him in, and he gets like, the seat of the house, and then the festivities commence. And I think there's a dinner, and if not a dinner, definitely shoe fly pie and coffee for the refreshments. So why shouldn't we go? All right, so back to cross stitch. This is one of my Snow Village charts. So getting there with that one, that must be the snowflake stand. And I have shown this before. I was wanting to change up the colors a little bit, as I tend to do. And so I looked at inspiration. I usually keep it in here. I actually had like a festive wintry washcloth actually, and it incorporates, hopefully Nancy Bates watches some of our Flosstubes and sees things like this, of Laura Bates' duets, Mother of Fame. But anyway, the washcloth incorporated, like, it was a Sansa scene, and it had like that bright blue and that lime green and this pink included in it, and I really loved, and the red and the traditional red and white and whatever. So I'm like, how can I maybe modify the colors to incorporate that. So this is a finished one. I am not doing it in the 9-patch style of like you might have seen it on Fat Quarter Shop. I'm not doing it that way. I'm going to just do individual FFOs. But this is the one that I made the most progress on. I still have snow to fill in there. This is the snowball stand. So I have to put those words in there. But I'm very proud of how I very whimsically, definitely on a whim, decided to do fringe on the scarf. I didn't really ever know if anybody's done this. I'm sure they have. So I just kind of winged it, and I did a little tiny pom-pom action on there to bring in those colors. So I'm not quite sure how I will do the letters. I probably will do them all consistently in that as my precedent, that dark brown. Okay, I'm never going to get through all the things that I planned on talking about, but that's okay. All right, so I am opening up my curling bag. I made this for the 2022. I made it just in time for the 2022 Winter Olympics. Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter. I think she received a bag in this fabric, and I had to look up that fabric immediately and get it. I was with a friend over the weekend, and I've been keeping the one stitch I've consistently been working on. I've been keeping it in that bag. But I moved it. So we will see if I find it in, oh, here we go. Perfect. So I have been working pretty monogamously on this. I did not use the called for colors exactly. I pulled from my stash, and this linen is also something that I found at an end of the year sale at the Stitch by Stitch store in Catonsville, Maryland, so outside of Baltimore. That little embellishment is from a chocolate chip cookie. So I haven't yet treated it. I had to get some unfortunate cat hairball stains out of a quilt before I took it to the fair as an entry, and I was successful with how I did just some dish soap, and I used like a toothbrush gently, and I was able to get it out. So that's what I'm planning on. Now the other plan would be to do what my friend Jill said when I met with her just this past weekend, and she's like, that's the perfect size for a button. Just put a button there. So, love it. So I'm very happy with this. I have my sights set on a cute little pillow with maybe some larger pom-pom trim. So we will see. I really want to get this to a finish status before I put winter away. Another one I definitely wanted to start to have more like just generic stitching finishes around me is this Luminous Fiber Arts, and this was an awesome find at the StitchCon Weekend Bee freebie table. And I am using a silk for this. It's Watermelon Belsois. And I'm really finding my groove on using even weaves. Unfortunately, I do not know what this particular one is, but here is the Bonsoir. Love it, love it, love it. So that has been going very quickly. The color, yeah, that's kind of more the color of the fabric. So that's sort of Valentine's-y as well. There's heart involved. See, there's heart there. So exciting, exciting progress. I have felt very productive this month with several things. Another, I will just give this little teaser. Another start I'm aiming towards is this. I've had this now for over a year. I am maybe going to do it all blue. I'm not quite sure. Probably not. And this is maybe a piece of Dune, Lugana, which I think is Atomic Ranch, or it's Palomino. Okay. How are we doing? It's 12:50. So, I think I'm gonna have to come back, and this is gonna require splicing videos together, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just do a brief one this time. I have been working on this. Ever since I saw Pam of Just Keep Stitching received it as a smalls exchange, I immediately had to have that. Love the cute little village down there. This is my first Mill Hill kit, and wow, I mean, all the threads are pretty much these blues. This is very organized, but I just have it wrapped up here. And such variations of the blues, and then the names. Light blue, very, very light blue, very light blue, almost light blue. Kind of makes you a little crazy, but this is my progress, and I don't really care for the perforated paper, so I do it on a 14 count, sticking with the perforated paper size. And this is just a piece of, I think it's like called Barely Blue, the Lori Holtz fabric. So that is my start. So the coverage in certain places, I'm like, but like my friend Jill was like, I don't know, I don't notice any coverage problems. And in that lighting, it was totally fine. And once I get, you know, the backing behind it and stuff, it'll be a little bit better, I think. Okay, so just some plans for the future. Like I said, I have some important dates coming up, so I am thinking about some starts, and of course being strategic about oh my gosh, I just dumped a whole open bag. Wow. So my father's birthday is February 8th, so I'd like to do something in memory of him as a start. And then we have, like I said, we have Fat Tuesday, February 13th. We have Valentine's Day, February 14th. It's also Ash Wednesday. President's Day, I would like to start one of my patriotics that I would intend to finish in 2026 to commemorate our 250th anniversary as a nation, or our 250th Declaration of Independence is what that is marking. And I feel like there were a few other things I wrote down, but one of my starts that I cannot wait to do. What time is it? Oh gosh, I really have to go. These Leela, it is Leela Studios according to her Instagram. I want to thank her so much for bringing these cute charts into our lives. Oh my gosh. So my friend Jill tells me, like, I wound up picking these up at the Rebel Stitcher retreat in Philadelphia last October. I had been looking at them for months, but I was like, no, you have a lot of other Easter things. You got to work on those. I couldn't stand it anymore. And of course they had the models there, and the final suggestion, they are called Spring Parade. So of course you put them in a little lineup in their little cars in your finish. So you stitch them all on the same fabric. The two pieces of fabric I picked, it's going to be a little tight. I am not sure it's fully going to work. Oh, and then I just noticed the other day, one is a 25 count Lugana and the other is a 28 count Lugana. I was desperately, at the last minute before the shop was going to close, I was trying to find the same color scheme. It's by Forbidden Fiber Company. Sorry for the glare. Love Potion, is that what that said? Yes, Love Potion. Love this, love it, love it, love it. There's, it might pick up as gray there, but it's really purpley and greenish tones, which really ties into like a Mardi Gras and Easter time, spring. It's awesome. So, unfortunately though, like I said, one is 25 count, one is 28 count. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I might do them on like little styrofoam pieces, or something that can stand up, that you can just sort of like make it look like a little train that they're in a parade. You know, this is going to take years, of course, because I have many other things for Easter that are still unfinished, but they're just so cute. So my friend Jill says, yes, we're going to plan which one we want to start and do a little sale together, which I love. She said she had actually purchased these for me last year, but we didn't wind up seeing each other until summer or something like that. So I'm like, well, now you have them and we get to stitch them together. So I really do have to run. It's been grand. And I will see you again soon, where I want to talk about my retreat plans coming up for this year. So bye for now. Happy stitching.